The Cowichan Valley Regional District is growing and changing. That brings up many questions, like where do the next 5,000 people live? What jobs will we have? How do we provide more water, local food? And how do we adapt to climate change? These are all things we have to plan for, and let me tell you, that is easier said than done. The Cowichan is a diverse and complex region. It includes everything from mountaintops to river valleys, nature trails to highways, and farmlands to commercial hubs, all within 21 different neighborhoods and villages spread out across 9 electoral areas. Planning for all this can be daunting, especially when you get into the paperwork. Over the years, we've built up a very complicated web of policies and rules for our region, many of which are often redundant and inconsistent. Check out this video on the process of harmonizing our official community plans to learn more about this challenge. To plan more effectively for our future, we needed a way to decode the complexity of our region and better organize these rules. So how do we do that? Well, we took inspiration from the field of ecology. When studying the complexities of nature, ecologists use a tool called the transect. You basically draw a line within an ecosystem and study everything along it. By doing so, you can begin to make sense of the various pieces that make up an ecosystem and how they work together. It's a key part of an ecologist's organizing framework. Well, we can create a similar transect of the Cowichan Valley. Many have found that this ecological concept can be adapted into a land planning model that helps us better understand human settlements and how they relate to each other. Here's what it looks like. When we study the Cowichan Valley, we find roughly 7 categories of areas ranging from natural to urban, based on factors such as a density threshold, basically how many people use and live on the land. We start with resource and natural. These are places that have little to no human inhabitants with less than 1 unit per hectare of land. They mostly consist of resource industries such as logging and occasionally some protected wilderness areas. Then there's rural and agricultural. Here you have sparsely populated communities connected to an undisturbed and rural way of life. The landscape mostly consists of farms, fields, and woodlands. Once we have more than 1 unit per hectare, we get into the suburban category. Now we're starting to see streets with houses along them. Here, people mostly live in single detached housing and enjoy connections to public infrastructure such as water and sewer systems. While mostly residential, there's occasionally room for a small business, like a corner store. As we move past 25 units per hectare, we have village and urban. These areas have a range of housing types from single detached housing to multifamily housing like townhouses and low-rise apartments. Having more housing density comes with more transportation investments like sidewalks, bus routes, and bike lanes, as well as easy access to shops and restaurants nearby. Then you have downtown areas, where you find mid-rise buildings with a commercial main street. These areas are mostly found within the Cowichan Valley's incorporated municipalities. Finally, there's the Special District. These areas have unique uses and buildings that don't fall neatly into any one category. This planning model is one of the tools we can use to understand how our communities are related to each other and how they are different. For example, Cowichan Bay. You have an urban center next to the water with commerce and high-density housing. Then, as you move away from the ocean, it becomes more suburban, then more rural. But in Yubo, you have a village set against natural edges with no transition to suburban or rural uses, which in part is what makes Yubo so unique. This is where things get really cool. A planning model like this can help us simplify our complex web of policies and regulations. For example, our land designations which guide development in the region. Across our electoral areas, we have no less than 166 of them, including 55 different residential designations. With this planning model, we have consolidated those 166 land use designations into 21 that fit along this model. Yes, 21. How? Well, take those 55 residential land designations. We study each one and calculate their densities to see where they fit along our planning model. Do that over and over and over and over and over and over, and eventually we can configure the original 55 into 7 land designations. Now, being organized and efficient is nice, but there's another important thing to add here. A planning model ultimately gives us a common language to describe our diverse communities, a language that is accessible to anyone. That can help us come together to make really important decisions about the future of the Cowichan Valley. Where should we add transit routes? What areas need public water connections? And where should new development happen? You shouldn't have to be an expert on hundreds of different policies to participate in that discussion. This planning model, inspired by the ecologist Transect, helps us all see the bigger picture of our communities, allowing us to plan for the future of our region with more clarity and confidence. Thank you to everyone who joined us in this journey. Visit planyourcowichan.ca to learn more.